Metaphor ReFantazio is one of my most anticipated games of this year, so when Sega Atlas invited me to their preview event in New York, it was an instant yes. So with that, I want to say thank you so much Sega Atlas for sponsoring this video.
It is a curious thing that in your eyes, my entire world is but the dawn of a story yet untold. Or to put it another way, this is a fantasy.
Before I discuss my time with Metaphor, I want to add a few disclaimers. As a fellow JRPG fan who tends to enjoy going into stories as blind as possible, I will not be discussing any story elements of the game besides its theme. That being said, there will be footage shown out of context, so if you want to completely ignore anything, this is your warning, but if you trust me to not be super spoilery, let's continue.
Yikes! I think we're in a little over our heads. Stay vigilant. These ones aren't messing around.
During the preview event, we got to play the first 2 hours of the game. I previously played Metaphor at Summer Game Fest, but it was out of context and more of a demo than how that game actually played. I was already falling in love with the game back at Summer Game Fest, but now that I have had played the first 2 hours, I am so ready for October 11th. So basically what I'm trying to say is that Metaphor surprised me.
That's a hell of a mission. And I want in.
So that's your game, eh? Pretend to sleep, eavesdrop on the plan. You're a fool to give yourself away.
If you want my blood, then let your blade strike true. I'm not going to run. Not from you, and not from a chance to do what's right.
Unlike previous Atlas titles such as Persona or Shin Megami Tensei, this game jumps right in, which for me was shocking. I'm so used to playing a few hours before anything wild happens. I feel this will be super important when it comes to people that are trying this game for the first time. It's easier to say that this game will draw you in right away versus you have to play a few hours to get the grit of the story. There's nothing wrong with either of them, but some people have different preferences. I feel that the story theme of Metaphor will be something truly relatable. The overall theme is anxiety, overcoming and dealing with anxiety with the people you meet along the way.
You know what they say. Anxiety breeds the world's cruelest monsters. I mean, fairies say that at least. I can at least cast my usual spell for you. It's the small comforts, right?
Right.
Music was the first magic this world ever knew, after all. Makes the road a little easier.
During my last preview of Metaphor, there were a few comments that they felt that this game was going to be on the easier side of other Atlas titles. Well, I'm happy to share with you that there will be a lot of difficulty settings. There is Storyteller, Easy, Normal, Hard, and Regicide, which is high risk and high reward. The footage you see me doing today, I played on normal just for the interest of time, but I feel like when the game comes out, I will probably go the harder route. One of the cool things during my playthrough is the fact that during one of the boss battles, Galaga interrupts, which I thought I did something wrong, but she insisted to help out with one of the mechanics of the boss. So I wonder if that is something that will come to play later.
If we don't take out those apple things, I think we'll regret it. You know, maybe there's something I can do. Hey, can you let me handle this? Understood. Leave it to me. Now it can't heal itself anymore. Don't waste your chance. Get in there!
So this footage here is showcasing one of the first major bosses that you encounter within the game. It shows you how to handle weaknesses, and it also gives you a little bit of a handle on how the archetype's powers work. I love the idea of archetypes. Just doing some of the battles, you kind of get a sense of what's going to be coming later. For those that are very, very familiar with Persona games or any other Atlas games, you will be able to catch on quickly, but I thought it was a great way to introduce new players that have never played an Atlas game before on how the process works.
Wind!
After playing the game, we were able to sit down and discuss with the developers. Then I was able to tell them that I was very, very happy with the fact that the protagonist speaks. It's probably one of the things that shocks a lot of people.
Just checking, but you do remember what we're here to do, right?
Right. What am I doing again?
They thought that their previous games like Persona takes place in a high school environment, and we kind of get a general idea of what it's like being in the high school world. So with Metaphor being in a completely different environment that doesn't take place in high school, they felt that they wanted the audience to connect with the characters on a personal level, which is why they decided to allow the protagonist to speak. I thought that was really cool because you got an understanding of what the developer's thought process was. Without giving anything away, because I said it was going to be as spoiler-free as possible, I will say that the characters so far are rather interesting, especially Stroll. Everyone I knew made a joke saying that he was going to be my husbando because he had white hair, and after getting to know him a bit more, he is 100% husbando. There's just something about when you first meet him in the game that gets you to instantly like him. There was even a choice option for me to push him away, and he was like, no, absolutely not. I think everyone during the playthrough that got to witness the scene with Stroll instantly fell in love with him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what your thoughts of Stroll is, and I'm looking forward to also seeing where his story goes.
Okay, let's give this all we've got.
Still standing.
Just one left.
Don't be careless. Here I go. Take this.
I think I'm getting used to this.
Not only does Metaphor provide you a turn-based combat that a lot of fans are familiar with, it also adds action elements. When you're out in the dungeon, you have the ability to just hit the attack button and take out enemies at an instant if you are above level.
Hold on.
The dungeon that I'm showcasing here is an outside dungeon for one, so it's cool that Metaphor has also inside and outside dungeon types. I was trying not to loot everything because I knew that this save was not coming home with me, but there is of course treasures that you can find along the way, as well as monsters that come out and jump scare you. Along with this new dungeon, you learn the ability and importance of guarding.
It appears we must do this.
I've never fought soldiers before, but I won't waver. Scour!
What is that? Never seen anything like it. That's not an igniter. Take this. Got no mercy for you.
Usually the NPCs tell you when a big attack is coming, so that's when you usually guard. And another thing that you should also do with the person that is being targeted is move them in the back line, because this game has a front line and a back line. So it's very important that you understand your situation, take a look at the turn gauges to see when it's your turn or when it's the enemy's turn, and make the right decisions.
Coming at us. They die hard.
Come forth, royal soul! Wind!
The second I saw the Akademeia, I was really excited.
In the moments where your heart is most gripped by the book, I can reach out to you. My name is More, and I am the humble author of the novel you've been reading.
More will be playing the role of the character that will be taking you on your journey and helping you along the way. And the thing that I love is that they integrated him into the story because he is the author of the book that the protagonist is reading.
Alas, it's as much a prison as it is a library. His most merciful majesty saw fit to lock me in this place. It has me a bit addled, honestly.
If you played a Persona game before, you will see that there are some gameplay vibes, such as the game has its Igor, there are social links, but there are no romantic social links. There's also, of course, the weaknesses and resistance that you have in battle. So if you have experience in previous Persona titles or any other Atlus games, you kind of get an idea of how the combat and the gameplay will feel.
Now let's see what manner of story you'll weave.
All in all, I went into this preview with Metaphor ReFantazio being one of my most anticipated games, and I left wanting to know more. I honestly had to stop myself from wanting to play more. Not because the time ran out, clearly, but because I wanted to keep playing. There are still so many things that I wanted to check out within the first 2 hours, but I zoomed through to get a grasp of what the game will be like. I tell people all the time that if you love a westernized story of fantasy and fairies, Metaphor is the one for you. I hope you're looking forward to Metaphor as much as I am, and I want to say thanks again Sega Atlas for sponsoring this video. Metaphor will be releasing on October 11th. And for those that made it to the end of this video that don't mind a little tease and sneak peek of what's to come in Metaphor and kind of get an idea of where the story can go, enjoy!
A village? You refused. Wait, then you were the one who... 7 years ago, the first Flames Day of June, a village in the northern hills was razed to the ground. A village called Harlia.
Well, yes, that might have been a name.
Then you made a fatal mistake, Klinger.
You left one survivor!